do you define the American dream?
It's a little bit hard to define the American dream because there are too many things behind it. Some of the things that I never thought that will happen in the United States. I never knew that by coming to the United States, it was looking for the American dream.
What age did you want to come to the United States?
Came to the United States when I was 17 years old.
But did you think about it before when you were younger?
Uh,
Before that?
yes, I think about it because my father used to come to the United States on and off, like come to the States and stay for like a year and a half or 2 years and then go back. And one day I kind of like follow the same thing he was doing.
How would you define success?
Well, so success is working hard, um, do a lot of, well, again, just doing a lot of work, uh, being creative, being consistent.
What drew you to wanting to open up your own business?
Never, in my mind, I was never thought about having a business here in the United States. My mind was to, I guess, if we go back to the American dream, my dream was just to come to the States for like a couple years, save money, and go back and open my own business in Mexico. But things weren't that way.
Why didn't you do that?
Because I find out that it was easier to save money and have a better living here in the States after being here for a couple of years. Um, I knew the opportunities were much easier here in the States than were in Mexico. And not only that, much safer.
What was your biggest failure in achieving your dream?
Uh, I don't think, uh, I mean, my biggest failure, I would say, achieving the dream is how the economy hurt businesses in the last 5, 6 years.
What were some obstacles trying to stop you from doing that, achieving your dream?
Well, still, even though all those uh, things with the economy not being the way it was and the way it should be, and we're working much harder, I still don't think there is anything that will stop me from continuing and living the American dream.
Do you think you face any challenges now trying to continue your American dream?
Yes, I'm facing challenges now. Uh, I'm not giving up. I achieved a lot. I would say I was successful. Uh, still successful, but uh, economically, I was much better 7 years ago than I am now.
Do you think you learned from your failures in
Oh yes, that's a lesson. That's something that um, I would say that I'll try not that to happen to me again. I'll be more careful with managing money, with investing money. I'll be more careful with the things that I do.
Do you think it was easy coming to the United States and starting how you started?
Well, to me, it was not easy because um, due to the legal issues with between the U.S. and um, other countries, um, I had to came the wrong way. When I said the wrong way, I had to cross over the border illegally and work and find my, work my way up to become a resident and then a good U.S. citizen.
Was it scary being over there in the border and stuff?
Yeah, it is scary. It wasn't that bad when back when I came and crossed. Now I see more like bad things in the news, the things that happen to other people. Thank God for any of those things, bad things that happen to these people happen to me. So it is scary.
Do you think your view over the American dream changed at all while you were?
Yeah, it has changed. It has changed. My view is again is more more carefully. I guess at one point I was aggressive. I was uh, just too aggressive. I would say by opening um, a business here, a business more than one business, and then I've been able to control. So that did change my view of the American dream. And not only that, there are a couple other things that make my that changed my view. The first one was on 9/11. At that time, it really changed my the view of the American dream because uh, never thought that something like that will happen in the United States. So at the time, I wanted kind of just go back to Mexico and get my family and move back. But then in the inside, I thought how I was gonna take my family back to a place from where one day I left looking for a better living. So I just decided to stay and kind of like think that whatever happened was like a disease, like a cancer that existed, but it was not developing, and it happened what it happened.
Do you think living here in the United States is what you expected it to be?
Uh, now it is. At the beginning, it wasn't because my first 7 years in the United States, I lived in California, and to me it was like living in Mexico
Why?
because I didn't have to speak English. I didn't have to uh, uh, eat just bread and hamburgers because there are tortillas in there. So everybody speaks. It's like being in Mexico. I was not missing anything. When I moved to Georgia, that's when I said this is the United States of America.
Do you still think the American dream is alive today?
Yes, and it should be for everyone in the states, not just for people like me that comes from other countries. I think everybody in the United States, every citizen, should have a dream.
Do you think that quitting was acceptable or is acceptable or?
No, I don't think quitting is the answer. I would not a, I would say at younger age. I guess at one point I won't call it quitting. At one point there is something that is called retire, but that doesn't mean that you're quitting. And even though in my mind, if one day I get to retire, I will still continue um, looking for things to do other than just relax.
What would you say was your biggest accomplishment being here?
My biggest accomplishment is my family. Um, because I have a nice family, and uh, pretty much that's what my other dream was, to have a family.
What advice would you give to yourself at my age in order to achieve success?
Uh, I'm gonna tell you what my teacher from elementary school will say all the time: study, study.
Can you give me like background information of like how it was living in Mexico before you came here?
Well, my childhood, I would say, even though I live in a small town, I don't think it was that bad. Um, being from a big family, uh, we did suffer for, not that we suffer, but we didn't have like other kids. I didn't have like what other kids will have. Um, I don't think we grew up poor, but uh, just working all the time, and uh, my grandparents were um, very helpful uh, in my childhood, because they were always looking out for, not just for me, for all their grandkids. So we always had a uh, something to eat, and they'll take care of us.
Do you think you made a good decision coming here?
Yes, I think it was a good decision.
Would you ever want to go back to Mexico and live there?
Maybe one day. I, I, Before I thought like, yes, I want to go back. Now, um, I don't know.
If you could go back in time, would you change anything?
If I want to go back in time, there's not much I can change.